Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Tanya with Crafty Enchantments, and today I am so excited because I was asked to be Kathy Schweinfurth's coffee date for the Coffee Loving Papercrafters. And for those that know me, you know that coffee is one of my favorite subjects. So I was excited to break out some of my stamps and dies. I am showing some stamps that I have from Tailored Expressions. I did not use all of these products. I did, however, use the layering stencil. This is the 3-layer stencil. And I'm going to pair this with some foiling and some ink blending. So I didn't use the solid stamp that goes with the stencil. I did, however, use the little dies to cut out the coffee cups, some of them. Those are so cute. And then there's also a coffee sentiment, coffee create repeat, and it has a coordinating die set, which I just showed. And then here are the sentiments. I love the sentiments. They're kind of funny. There's also a larger coffee cup, and then there's this little stamp set that you can use to embellish your coffee mugs or just add some coffee flair. Here I have shown the foilets panels. This is what I'm going to use to create my coffee mugs. This is a toner foil panel, 6x6, and I'm using some Tailored Expressions Dragon Fruit toner foil. And it's kind of a hot pink color. It really looks magenta on screen, but in real life it's sort of a hot pink. So I'm using my Fuse toner foil system here. I'm going to put my sheet in a carrier with the foil pretty side up. I have set my heat to 3, which I find works really well for toner foiling. And I do not run my pieces through more than once. I find that I usually only need to run them through once. I've had issues running things through twice, and then you get a little crease in your paper and it messes things up. So I'm going to let that cool down a little bit, and then I will take it out of the carrier sheet and I will remove the foil to reveal some fun hot pink foiled coffee accents. They are really pretty in person. The lighting does not do them justice, I will say that. Here I have my Waffle Flower Media Mat, and I'm just getting my stencil lined up over these foiled images. I think you can do either. So say you wanted to ink blend first and then foil. I think you can do that. I don't know. I figured it would probably be better to foil first and then ink blend. If you get, any kind of ink on the foil, you could easily just take a soft cloth and wipe that away. I didn't really have any problems though, so I'm just using a little bit of repositionable painter's tape here, and I am going to set that in place. For this coffee date, I decided to do a color scheme rather than a layout. Layouts are not my I'm not very good at layouts, so I decided to go with some bright colors. We chose a color scheme that had a bright pink, bright yellow, bright green, and a bright blue. So that's what I'm going with, and I am using the Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks for this. You could use any ink you wanted. I just felt like they were very pretty and bright and cheerful, and I thought they would be great for this card. But use, if you do something like this, use what you have in your stash, for sure. I have a lot to choose from, so I was like, well, I don't break out my Simon Says Stamp inks very often. I usually will use like the Distress inks or the Distress Oxide inks, but I kind of wanted something that was a little brighter than those, and I thought these fit the bill. So I am just using my little detailed ink blending brushes, and I'm blending on my ink here. I like the detail brushes for these small spaces. I think they work well. I don't have to worry about masking off images so much. And plus these colors kind of blend well together, so the detail brushes just work for me for this instance. If you definitely were just going to do one color, you could grab a larger blending brush and just do the whole thing one color or two colors, however you wanted to do it. but I thought this was fun. And I definitely was a little bit, even though I chose a color scheme and I love bright colors, I was definitely a little bit outside of my comfort zone with the green and yellow, because I don't use yellow very much in any of my card making. I have to really kind of push myself to use those warmer colors. I'm definitely a cool color person. I like the blues and the purples and the pinks and those kind of things. So I'm on that side of the spectrum and not so much on the green and yellow side of the spectrum. But I have to say I do like how this card turned out. So despite my struggles, and I do have struggles, I kind of left part of it in the video, so you'll see it here in a little bit. So I got those all blended up, just adding some finishing touches here. And then we will be switching out our stencil and adding in the handles for the mugs. It's the handles, and then some of the mugs have a little trim piece at the top. So I will just mix and match my colors again here, trying to make sure they get lined up. Tape that stencil in place again. And we will just add in our little decorative pieces here. And you can see I did cut some of I did stencil. I created one other stencil, so I cut some of the mugs from those. Those are sitting there in the upper left-hand corner. I had some issues when I tried to assemble my card the first time and the second time. So I should learn from my own lessons. Anyway, I'm just adding the finishing touches here. And I think I was watching a movie, so I'm a little distracted too. So I think the bright, cheerful colors are so pretty in this. It turned out so good. And the shine, of course. So you can kind of see the foil there. It's definitely a bright pink. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a rainbow effect, which I like. I think that's fun. Not something you see a lot of times with coffee themed cards. Most people use like the traditional browns or dark warm colors. And I just thought these would be fun for summer. And I also kind of felt like I was channeling my inner Lisa Frank a little bit. And if you know who Lisa Frank is, then you're old like me. So, because that's definitely what it reminded me of. So here I am working with my sentiment. And I chose the sentiment that says I thought I like coffee. Turns out I just like creamer. Which I think is kind of funny because I am a frou-frou coffee drinker. I like my frozen blended mochas and my iced coffee. Hazelnut's my favorite. So this definitely speaks to me. Real coffee drinkers drink their coffee black and probably are more awake than I am because I don't think I get the amount of coffee that other people do. So mine's mostly sweetener, sugar, and cream. So I stamped that, and I have stamped it a second time with a embossing ink, and I am going to heat set that, and then I will die cut that out using the coordinating die, which is a godsend. I love it when stamp companies have a coordinating die for their sentiments because I am not a fussy cutter. I would love to be able to cut out every sentiment if I could. So I've cut that out. Figuring out my placement, I did cut a circle from some vellum, and then I'm going to create a little frame for that to kind of frame up where my sentiment is in the lower corner. I'm cutting that on some blue, it's like a blue foiled cardstock, which is really pretty. I'm going to put a piece of paper over it again to cover it up, just so I don't get any of my scratches and nicks from my top plate into my foiled paper. I always like to protect my foil paper. And for that I used just a small frame die. I think this was from Ellen Hudson. And you can see here my mistake. So I put my panel down once and did not get it on straight. So I had to try to I actually used some undo on it to get my foam tape lifted up off the cardstock. But I ruined my background piece, so I'm going to have to cut another piece from some black shiny cardstock here. and I'm just cutting that down so I can use my die with it. And for the die that I used, it is an older die and it's retired. It was from My Favorite Things, and it was a Dynamics die. It was one of their sets that they had, and I use this die for everything. I love this die. But I will link to a similar product in the description box below. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. I have my sheet of white cardstock over top of it to protect my foil cardstock here from getting damaged. That's my best tip for using foil cardstock. It's really helpful because I've inadvertently forgotten, ran something through the die cutting machine, and then it has all these marks and scratches on it from your plates. So this keeps it nice and clean. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my Score Pal, re-adhere some of my dimensional foam that was missing from when I pulled it off my card initially. You can see how torn up it is. It looks like my dog chewed on it. Well, the undo worked. It works really well. It kind of warps the card a little bit, but that's okay. It'll be fine once I get it adhered back down to my card here. So I'm just adding the missing pieces of dimensional foam, and then I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue to this to give me a little bit of wiggle room to be able to put my card on without it getting stuck in place in case I get it on crooked again, because that's typically my problem. The Score Pal really helps me line things up. It looks good. And then I will just add this to an A2 card base from some white cardstock. And there is a look at my finished card. Look at all that shimmer. So pretty. In addition, I created a couple other cards. This is using some Dare to Be Artsy products and some Tailored Expressions products. And then I have one more card. I was in a coffee roll, and I created this one. This is using some Concord and Ninth products. So I will have links to all of those products on my blog. And please hop over to the Coffee Loving Papercrafters blog today and check out what Kathy Schweinfurth made. Thank you so much for stopping by. Goodbye.